GA4 and Search Console are more useful when they tell you which pages deserve a refresh. Why analytics should decide what gets refreshed first. Analytics should determine the refresh queue. Content refresh work falls apart the moment it turns into a taste test. One person likes the headline. Another wants a new intro, and suddenly the team is debating vibes while the page keeps losing ground. Analytics should do the sorting before anyone rewrites a sentence. The data should tell you where the page sits in the queue, what kind of problem it has, and whether it deserves a light touch or a bigger fix. Lean e-commerce teams run into the same mess again and again. Traffic data lives in one tool. Content decisions happen in another. And the final call often goes to whichever page someone noticed in Slack that morning. Almost every brand we work with has the same problem. A solid content strategy and not enough bandwidth to execute it. Blog production depends on one or two people. Publishing is inconsistent. And high-intent search opportunities sit uncaptured for months. The strategy is rarely the gap. The execution is. That setup wastes the signal you already have. Search data and engagement data can show you which pages are slipping. And conversion data can show which ones earn impressions without clicks or overlap so badly that two URLs compete for the same shopper intent. Treat refresh work as a queue. A category page losing organic sessions moves up. A guide with steady impressions but weak clicks moves up. Two pages answering the same question should move into a merge or expansion decision before anyone touches one. That still earns steady demand. The real content operations problem for small teams is that the signals exist, but they rarely become decisions. The dashboard gets checked, the report gets exported. Then the work stalls because no one has a simple rule for what gets fixed first. This article starts with 3 page types: pages losing relevance, pages earning impressions with weak clicks, and pages that should be merged or expanded. That shortlist keeps refresh work honest. Start with the page, then read the signal. Review the URL before interpreting its metrics. Page-level review beats channel-level review because it's the thing you can actually change. You can update a collection, merge 2 buying guides, retire a stale help article, or rewrite a comparison page. But you can't fix a channel in one sitting. That matters because broad reports blur intent. A traffic spike in a content bucket can come from a sizing guide, a brand query, or a support article about returns, and those pages need different decisions. One page may deserve a rewrite, another a merge, and a third should be left alone. For each URL, pull the smallest useful set of fields: organic sessions, impressions, clicks, click-through rate, average position, engagement time, conversions. If the tracking is clean, that mix is enough to separate real opportunity from noisy volume. A page with high impressions and weak clicks has a snippet problem. A page with falling sessions and slipping engagement has a relevance problem. And a page with steady traffic but poor conversion may have a message mismatch on the page itself. In our audits, the URL often explains a misleading chart faster than another filter does. A category page with stale products needs a merchandising review, while a guide with stable demand may only need a clearer answer near the top. Group URLs by job before you judge them: category pages, buying guides, comparison pages. And support content each earn their keep in different ways, so each one needs a different refresh decision. A category page with stale product language needs a different fix than a guide that still answers the right question, but sends shoppers to outdated models. Lean teams should use one simple rule: review the page before you review the chart. The page tells you whether the signal means decay or mismatch, which saves you from refreshing something that only looks busy because it sits inside a messy report. Find pages that are losing relevance. Refresh pages when demand remains but relevance declines. Relevance decay is simple. A page once matched demand. Then, the wording and examples drifted away from what shoppers now expect. So the page earns less traffic, even though the topic still matters. The pattern shows up in a few places. Organic sessions fall across comparable periods. Engagement drops on the same URL, or clicks slide even though impressions stay steady. That last one matters because the page is still being shown. But fewer searchers want the result enough to open it. Search Console and GA4 work well together here. Search Console shows demand signals, while GA4 shows whether visitors stay after they land and whether they scroll or act. Put them side by side, and you can see whether the issue starts at the search result or inside the page itself. E-commerce examples are easy to spot once you know the smell of decay. A buying guide still ranks for an old product model that shoppers stopped searching for. A category page uses language that no longer matches current inventory. When the return policy or product line changes, a help article can end up answering a question the market has already moved past. Most stores we work with underestimate how quickly commercial language ages. Product ranges change, promotions alter expectations, and staying fresh means keeping an ear to the ground. And shoppers adopt new terms before the old copy looks obviously wrong. A stale page with business value should move to the front of the queue. If a guide once drove qualified traffic to high-margin products, or a collection page still sits near the top of the funnel, fix that page before touching evergreen content that still holds steady. Here's the practical filter. Choose the pages with visible decay and real revenue potential first. A weak page that still sits near commercial intent deserves attention before a stable page that already does its job. Use impressions and CTR to spot pages with hidden upside. High impressions with low CTR signal recoverable demand. Impressions show that a page is appearing in search results. CTR shows whether shoppers care enough to click. That gap is where the easiest refresh wins live, because the demand is already there and the page only needs a better invitation. A practical filter works well here. Start with pages whose impressions are steady or rising. Average position sits on page 1 or just outside it, and CTR trails what the query intent suggests. A category page ranking around position 6 for waterproof hiking boots with a weak click rate is a better candidate than a blog post buried on page 4, because the first page already has a foothold. Low CTR usually comes from a few things. The title reads like an internal label. The snippet never answers the shopper's question. Or the URL tries to serve too many intents at once. A results page that tries to satisfy best running shoes for flat feet and Nike versus Adidas running shoes in one place usually blurs both. Query groups make the next move clear. If most clicks come from brand plus product searches, the page may need a sharper title and a cleaner intro that matches that intent quickly. If the queries ask about sizing or fit, the section order needs to move those answers higher. When the query mix shows comparison intent, while the page is a thin collection page, a different page type is the right fix. In our experience, CTR improvements come from matching the result to the query, not from making the title louder. A shopper searching for fit guidance should see fit guidance immediately, rather than a generic category label. This is the point of the exercise. Find pages where a small rewrite can capture demand that is already available. A better headline, a first paragraph that answers the searcher, or a cleaner H2 structure can move a page without rebuilding the whole thing. A lean team can ship that work without spending a month debating font sizes. Separate refresh, consolidation, and expansion. Match the intervention to the page's actual search problem once a page shows up on the list. The team needs a clean decision path. The outcomes are refresh the page, merge it with another page, or expand it into a stronger asset. Each choice maps to a different signal in the data. So, the conversation stays about evidence instead of taste. Refresh is the right call when the topic is still right and the page simply needs a better job. You'll see this if it already ranks for useful queries, but the copy feels dated. The structure is loose, or the answers arrive too late. A bedding store page about best pillows for side sleepers that already gets impressions can usually be fixed with newer product examples, clearer comparison blocks, and a tighter intro. Consolidation wins when two URLs chase the same intent and split attention. You'll spot this when both pages rank for the same queries. Clicks bounce between them, or internal links send mixed signals. If one page covers women's rain jacket and another page covers the same products with only minor wording changes, merging them into one stronger page usually cleans up the mess for readers and search engines alike. Expansion fits pages that already attract demand but miss the next layer of questions. Think of a collection page that gets steady traffic for espresso machine, while shoppers also look for grinder, compatibility, and cleaning advice. That page has room to grow into a deeper buying guide or a richer comparison page. Because the audience is already telling you what belongs there, the analytics should settle the argument. If one URL has the best impressions and the weakest depth of answer, refresh it. If two URLs split the same query group, merge them. If the page gets traffic but leaves obvious questions unanswered, expand it. That decision tree keeps the team out of opinion loops and into work that matches the data. Build a lean scoring system that a small team can actually use. A useful scorecard makes page priority visible. A small team needs a scorecard that can be filled out fast. Use only a few factors: traffic trend, impression volume, CTR gap, conversion value, and business priority. Anything more turns into spreadsheet theater. And nobody has time for it. A low traffic page for a high margin category can matter more than a busier informational page if it sits closer to purchase and supports products with strong profit. A page for premium cookware accessories may deserve more attention than a generic how to choose a pan article because one influences revenue directly. Use bands instead of fake precision. Mark each factor as high or low. Then sort pages by total score. That keeps the system honest when sample sizes are tiny, which happens often with long-tail queries and niche collections. A page with a medium traffic trend, high impression volume, low CTR gap, and high business priority belongs near the top, even if the exact math is messy. Review the queue monthly or quarterly, depending on how much content your team can actually touch. Weekly review is a trap for lean teams, because the noise changes faster than the work gets done. A regular cadence gives you the same kind of pages each cycle, which means the process stays repeatable instead of becoming a fresh argument every time someone opens the dashboard. That repeatable queue is the goal when the same rules surface the same types of pages. You stop guessing and start shipping the refresh work that has the best chance of moving revenue. Make the update brief, specific enough to avoid wasted work. A good brief converts analytics into an executable change. A refresh brief should read like a job ticket because that keeps the work from drifting. Put the page's job first, then the signal that triggered review, the search intent you want to satisfy, and the exact change needed. If a category guide exists to help shoppers choose between organic cotton tees and heavyweight tees. To learn more, visit heysprite.com today.